Congressman Vern Buchanan is a Republican from Florida, member of House Ways and Means, and Congressman Robert Andrews, a Democrat from New Jersey. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Congressman Andrews, let's just get mechanics out of the way. Is the House a roadblock today or tomorrow or not?
No, I don't think we're a roadblock. I think that we will pass this bill. I hope it passes tonight or before the U.S. markets open tomorrow.
Congressman Buchanan, you feel the same way?
Yeah, I think we had a good conference call yesterday with our caucus, and I feel confident they'll pass it today. Hopefully in the Senate, we'll get it later tonight. I'd like to see it get out of the way sometime today, but no later than tomorrow, obviously.
Well, Congressman Buchanan, there have to be some people who just want to throw a monkey wrench in this. I mean, aren't there some people who want to embarrass the president so badly or embarrass the speaker so badly that they have to cause a little bit of crisis today? Everybody who has said to us over and over again down in Washington that we have nothing to worry about has been completely and utterly wrong. I just kind of want to take off the completely and utterly wrong issue from the table.
Yeah, I just think there are people in our caucus that came here, feel they got elected about not continuing to raise the debt ceiling. They're concerned about the spending. I'm concerned about the spending. I'm going to vote for this. But the bottom line is that we're going to accumulate another $2.6 trillion in debt. There's the spending cuts, but they come over 10 years. But still, we need to move towards, I think, long-term, a balanced budget amendment. And the other thing that you talked about a little bit earlier, we need to focus on jobs, small business, and getting people back to work as soon as we get this passed tomorrow.
Well, again, I just kind of want my question answered just because of the notion of what we're trying to do is anchor people. Are there some people who can derail this today? So in other words, anyone who bought the market at the opening, are they going to end up thinking that they lost a lot of money because they had false reassurance? I understand all the ideas about the balanced budget and all that stuff. That's terrific. Jim? I'm just trying to put ourselves in the heads of investors who are just hearing you and thinking, hey, you know, it's a done deal. Because the done deal caucus has been dead wrong since we started this debate.
Jim, there are some people going to try to throw a monkey wrench and they're not going to succeed. And with all due respect, I don't think we've been dead wrong since the beginning. I was on with Joe Kernan about 3 weeks ago and told him I thought we'd get a deal at the last minute. I thought it would be more like $4 trillion than $3 trillion. Congress acts at the last minute. That's unfortunate. But a lot of us have been saying this all along, and it's going to happen today.
Yeah, but over the weekend, I was worried about the 14th Amendment. I was worried about the president invoking strange things. I was worried about the sale of gold in Fort Knox. And, you know, I'm a student of this just like you are, sir. And I'm just kind of like thinking what the average person in America is saying, which is that, you know, look, forget these guys. They can't come up with anything.
Yeah, let me just say that, you know, I talked with our leaders on our side and just spoke to one of the leaders on the Democratic side, and I think everybody's pretty optimistic that on a bipartisan basis we will get this done today, ideally in the House, if not tomorrow. I think there's a lot of confidence at this point that it's going to get done.
I agree with that completely.
Congressman Jason Trennert, guest host this morning. I was just wondering, just something we were talking about before, which is there any talk, I know it might be putting the cart before the horse, is there any talk about doing something that's pro-growth? Once we get past this crisis, assuming this gets through, is there anything that's really being talked about to encourage capital formation and consequently employment growth?
There is, Jason. You know, one of the things that this special committee is going to look at is tax reform. And I think there's a growing consensus that lower, flatter rates put the market in charge rather than us in charge of corporate decisions. And I think that will lead to more economic growth. I think you may see that come out of this next phase of this agreement.
And let me just add, you know, I'm a guy that's been in business for 30 years. I had 50 companies before I ran before I got here. I've created thousands of jobs. We need to bring some stability and bring our country back on a much more pro-free enterprise, pro-entrepreneurship, pro-jobs, pro-small business agenda, and we've got to find a way to work together to get that done. I had a guy email me yesterday, and he just thinks that all of us are out to lunch, both sides, but we've got to find a way to get this done the next day or two and then move on to a much more pro-free enterprise agenda going forward.
Congressman Andrews, on the commission, can you clear up the debate? Are revenues a possibility or not? We're hearing from two very disparate points of view today.
They are a possibility. The commission can consider everything, every entitlement, every revenue, every discretionary. It has to pass something out by at least a 7-5 vote. So there'd have to be some bipartisan agreement on that. But yes, they are a possibility.
All right. And Congressman Buchanan, I guess, is there kindling there for a broad, rancorous discussion come fall?
We just think that we'll get the cuts in place on a bipartisan basis. We're not interested in raising taxes on small, medium-sized businesses, especially where we're in a recession at this point in time.
Yeah. And finally, do we think this deal is enough to tell S&P to go home or not?
No, I don't. I'm a little concerned about that. I mean, I was looking for a larger deal. The one point of optimism I'd give you there, history shows us that when we get a good deficit reduction deal, we actually get much more deficit reduction than appears on face value. The Clinton deal actually produced about 4 times as much deficit reduction as it was supposed to. So if that happens, that kind of economic growth feedback will help us here.
I think we're moving in the right direction. I'm hoping the rating agencies will give us a little bit of time. I think what's going to happen in November, we'll get those additional cuts. Hopefully we'll focus a lot more on getting people back to work, which will help in terms of increasing revenues here in Washington. So I'm hopeful that the rating agencies will stay pat for now.
All right.
Remember, gentlemen, history also shows that when you get a debt downgrade, you get some real serious reform.
Yes.
You know, so it does tend to concentrate our minds.
Yes. Gentlemen, thanks for your time today. We'll all be
Thank
watching.
you.